I want the children to pay particular attention, and I want also recognize why you're not going to find information like this in your school books. Why? Because it will liberate you. Because it puts everything back into context. And it starts to show you who's who. George Washington, and for those scholars who would dispute it, there's your reference from documents of American history. So don't think the scholars don't know this stuff. They just ain't talking. Letter from George Washington to Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Sultan of Morocco, city of New York, December the 1st, 1789. And he's wearing his Masonic garb, standing on the floor of Asar Set. Those black and white tiles represent Asar and Aset, the upper world, the lower world. Are we clear? All right. And the G stands for geometry. And that compass in the square is referred to in the Bible as the carpenter's tools. And Jesus was a carpenter. You understand? Good. All right. All right. Now, anyway. Great and magnanimous friend, since the date of the letter which the late Congress, by their president, first sentence let you know that he wasn't the first president, you see, from his own letter. So you see why information like this is dangerous to be exposed to the common people who have been miseducated, who think Georgie was the first president when he was the 9th. Because if they gave you the other history, it begins to tie you back. And the leader guys don't want you to have that information because they can't play the black game and start marching and praying. And they're asking you for $5. Oh, make it 10. Jesus is half. You know, that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I want you to pay attention to this, but when we get into it, I want you to look what is obvious to you, and so that we can get down to some of the politics. And don't forget your question, brother. I ain't forget you. All right? Since the date of the letter which the late Congress by their president addressed your Imperial Majesty, the United States of America have thought proper to change their government and institute a new one agreeable to the Constitution, of which I have the honor herewith to enclose a copy. So you can understand the Constitution didn't come from them, did it? It was adopted by them. Now you understand what Obama was saying when he tell you that the American Constitution comes from Muslim law? I'm going to go on to Article 11 of the Treaty of Tripoli from the Treaty of Peace and Friendship that Obama read to the world and show you what he was reading and show you how it went over people's heads. And he's telling you. The time necessarily employed in the arduous task and the disarrangements occasioned by so great though peaceable revolution will apologize and account for your majesties not having received those regularly advised marks of attention from the United States which the friendship and magnanimity of your conduct toward them afforded reason to expect. The United States having unanimously appointed me to supreme executive authority in this nation, you see he was appointed. Now later on you're going to find out why. Your Majesty's letter of August 17, 1788, so this is 2 years before he was appointed. He's talking about correspondences that were going on. How come you ain't getting this in school? Because they don't want you to know that you're standing on Morocco, that the land is Morocco, the occupational government is the United States, distinguished from the land. It's a foreign religious corporation belonging to the Jesuits. You're under occupation. Anyway, so the United States having unanimously appointed me the supreme executive authority in this nation, your majesty's letter of August the 17th, 1788, this was 2 years before the appointment, which by reason of the dissolution of the late government already exists, remain unanswered and has been delivered to me. I have also received the letters which your imperial majesty has been so kind as to write in favor of the United States to the Bashars of Tunis and Tripoli, and I present to you the sincere acknowledgments and thanks of the United States for this important mark of your friendship for them. So you see that Marine song? That's the one they taught from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. They conquered you. You get the point? All right. Now, we greatly regret the hostile disposition of those regencies, and so you must know that the regencies are the orders or the territorial orders of the Moors, from which they have designed your township, your boroughs, your counties, etc. All right, so We greatly regret the hostile disposition of those regencies toward this nation who have never injured them is not to be removed on terms of our power to comply with. As you can see, they couldn't keep up with the taxes. Now you're beginning to understand the Al-Moroccan Revolution on another level, the American Revolution, the Al-Moroccan Revolution. Got to know. Now you understand why when you go to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, you see all those statues got turbans and fezzes on. The Europeans tell them in school, oh, they're Frenchmen. And the Asiatics say, oh, all right. And statues got turbans and fezzes on. Biggest day. Gettysburg Address. Tell our people they can't pay. You know, things are in their face and they like lunch. And within our territories, there are no mines where there are gold or silver. And this young nation, just recovering from the waste and dissolution of a long war, have not as yet had time to acquire riches by agriculture and commerce. But our soil is bountiful. Pay attention to this, you all. Take notes, take notes, take notes, take notes. Now you want to see why all of your leader guys must be Masons and why they got a Moorish fez in secret. Now look at this. We have not yet had time to acquire riches by agriculture and commerce, but our soil is bountiful and our people industrious, and we have reason to flatter ourselves that we shall gradually become useful to our friends. Pay attention to this paragraph. The encouragement which your majesty has been pleased generously to give to our commerce with your dominions. Where do you think you're standing? Moorish dominions. See why they don't give you real history? Why they reconstructed the history? Reconstruction. They weren't building, they're reconstructing history. So the encouragement which your majesty has been pleased generously to give to our commerce with your dominions, the punctuality with which you have caused the treaty with us to be observed, and the just and generous measures taken in the case of Captain Proctor make a deep impression on the United States and confirm, pay attention, their respect for and attachment to your imperial majesty. The United States is an appendage of the Moroccan Empire. Now you understand in your divine constitution, bylaws, and Drali said you're part and parcel of this said government must live life accordingly. Now you understand why Obama told you that this constitution comes from Muslim law and this is not a Christian country. And our people think it's absolutely the opposite with their miseducation and promoted by a lot of their black leaders who are paid off because they know this information, but this will kill that diaspora because you was already here. And this ain't India. And we ain't Indians. Anyway, it gives me great pleasure to have the opportunity of assuring your majesty that while I remain at the head of this nation, I shall not cease to promote every measure that may conduce to the friendship and harmony which so happily subsists between your empire and them, and shall esteem myself happy in every occasion of convincing your majesty of the high sense which in common with the whole nation I entertain the magnanimity, wisdom, and benevolence of your majesty. May the Almighty bless your imperial majesty, our great and magnanimous friend, with his constant guidance and protection, signed George Washington. You'll never see that in the history books because it kills the whole misinformation foundation that he was the first president and that this government was set up by them. No, they were brought into government. The Constitution is their sanction to do business at Morocco.